So for those of you who participate pretty often in the Putting Y'all On streams, which I do every Wednesday now, by the way, if you want free promo, show up to one of those streams at 4 p.m. Eastern. For those of you that participate in those really often, you are going to be familiar with today's artist. His name is CdXx. We're going to be listening to his album Wants and Needs. It's got 10 songs on it. It's 30 minutes long. CdXx hit me up on Instagram a while ago, actually, and he was, talking with me about doing a video for this project, and I was super excited to do it. I'm glad we finally got that worked out because I haven't been disappointed by a track from CdXx yet, and I have heard a lot of his music. This man shows up almost every Wednesday to promote his music, and it's always fire. It's always super creative and well produced. So this is an album that I particularly am pretty excited about. And for those of you that are watching this that have never heard of CdXx before and you haven't shown up to the stream, you're about to get put onto a very exciting new artist. So stay tuned and check out these tracks along with me because I'm certain that this is going to be a quality project. I'm going to be jumping right into it, to be honest with you, but CdXx did send in a summary of the album when he DM'd me on Instagram, and he said that it would be okay if I put this into the video. It's going to add a little bit of context for myself and for you guys who are watching the video. So this is what he wrote. Quote, "Wants and Needs tells a story of trying to balance love and lust while in pursuit of a happy ending on pop/hip-hop and R&B beats. With production by CdXx and Arcade and features from Harvey Do and Veronica, the story plays on the idea of wanting commitment and wanting an end to the promiscuous lifestyle while at the same time still wanting to give in to temptation regardless of whose feelings are in the way. CdXx illustrates needing that one person who can change everything, but still needing the occasional hookups. CdXx experiences both sides of the game in result of his actions, opening and closing the album with one question: why can't I find love?" Now, I mean, talk about story of my life, right? That's going to be really relatable. It sounds like such an interesting concept that, wanting commitment, but at the same time wanting to give into temptation, needing the occasional casual hookup, and still wanting to be in a committed relationship. I mean, I particularly when I was a little younger, found myself torn in that same way very, very often. And so, it's going to be very interesting to dive into this project and see how he plays with this concept, man. I'm super excited. He mentioned Arcade, he mentioned Harvey Do, he mentioned Veronica. I'm pretty sure I have heard all of those people collabing with him before in the previous tracks that he has shown me. And so, they also are very, very talented. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to this and get put onto them as well. With that said, guys, I mean, that's the intro to this this project, and I don't really think any more needs to be said. Let's let the music speak for itself. Track 1 is Find Love. Let's get into it, man. Sheesh.
That I can never find. Who can be the one? Do they say love will come? But the one gone, nights like this to come. She might be the one.
I like that flow there. I'm loving this 4 on the floor kind of vibe right now. With all the percussion going on. The beat is really groovy. The drums are really groovy on this. But at the same time, the keys, right, the pads, they're so ethereal and spacey and kind of atmospheric. And pair that with the reverb and the processing that they do on his vocals and the background vocals as well. This makes for a very interesting kind of like outer space dance track almost, for this guy who's searching for love. Very, very cool sounding, you know what I mean? Like, it's got a really cool vibe to it. This is a dope little breakdown.
Tell me when will I find love?
Really cool, dude. This breakdown is awesome. Crazy atmospheric. Man, the atmosphere to that is so crazy. Everything sounds like it's in a cathedral, everything sounds so reverberant and grand. It really gives like a really big scope to everything that we're listening to, all of that reverb, all of that space, all of that ambience. I think he did a great job on that breakdown towards the end where the drums went into halftime and I think it was a guitar solo. There was something really distorted that was kind of playing. It might have been just a lead, but I know that along with that, you were playing around with your vocals as well, running them through a filter and having them riff alongside that little solo. It's really cool instrumentation there towards the end to play us out of that track. Yeah, exactly like the summary stated, starting this project off asking that question, why can't I find love? And he painted that picture very vividly and very clearly with his lyrics on this track. It was very easy to follow along with, really straightforward, super honest. I think that that's really, it's a really cool intro, man. Track 2 is FWM. I like the synth bass. That's always a great vibe.
Come fuck with me, come fuck with me. Cause I just can't stand to see you hurting. All you need. Why can't you see what I need? Why can't you see, why can't you see?
Okay. I was pretty quiet during that one. I was really paying attention to it and trying to formulate, my thoughts on it, which is kind of tough to do, having only heard it once. But CdXx knows that out of respect for him and his craft, I'm always going to be 100% honest with him. So I know that he's not going to be upset when I say that this track I don't think was really for me. And I'm going to say why. I think that the production on it is great. I have no issues with the production on this at all. I think the synth bass is really vibey. I like the little pads going on in the background. The chord progression's nice. The drums sound great. Again, nice and ambient and kind of spacey and atmospheric. No problems with the production at all. I think that the issue for me came where the hook is good. It's not great. I think it is maybe a little simple. And sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. There's not like one rule to writing a catchy hook. Sometimes a simple hook is what's going to get stuck in your head. Sometimes it just kind of sounds a little underwhelming. It's very hit or miss, simple hooks. So, I applaud you for taking the risk, to be honest. But yeah, I just don't think that the hook really grabbed my attention all that much. And then during the verses, nothing wrong with it lyrically, honestly. I think it was the melodies that you were singing. And this is something that's always very tough to describe. You can be on key and still be singing notes that are clashing with the chords that are being played. And so I think that kind of came up every now and then. Let me try and go back and maybe find a more specific moment. So just so that I'm not leaving you, wondering. I think that really might be it. It's the ooh. I think that little riff isn't really lining up with the chords that are being played there. I don't know if I'm mistaken about that. I don't know if that's actually the case. That might just be my impression. But something about that little riff and the melodies that you were singing along with it felt like maybe they weren't fitting too well with the chords that were being played, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. So yeah, it's not bad. I think maybe just a couple tweaks in the melodies would have made this track a lot better, in my opinion. It is short though, and it does go by pretty quickly. It almost feels kind of like an interlude. So I would skip it, but I'm not gonna say that it's bad or that it's, it just needs a few small tweaks. Track 3 is Nights Like This. This title is familiar. CdXx might have shown me this one before, but I don't know that I've listened to it. So let's check this out. I think I have heard this, but I like it, so. So this is more of, a lustful song. Nights Like This is when I find myself thinking about you and wanting to be with you. I like that, and I have heard this one before, so I remember giving CdXx my opinions during that stream when I heard it. So for now, I'm just going to vibe with it, and then I'll reiterate my opinions towards the end.
We've been keeping it kosher, but I know what you're craving in the night. Something about you, there's something about you, and I can tell you feel it too.
Yo, those pads are so good, man.
That I think about you, only nights like what am I supposed to do when I'm thinking about you? Are all the
A really long fade out too towards the end. That's really cool, man. Yeah, Nights Like This is a great track. I really like Nights Like This. I remember telling him that when I first heard it. Definitely one of the more lustful tracks, like I mentioned. I think the drum programming is great, and it's got a nice little bouncy trap feel to it. But the synths and the pads in the background, you know, that constant droning in the background just kind of puts you in this hypnotized, you know, trance as you're listening to him singing in this really great upper octave, super nice and sweet kind of falsetto. Very Weeknd-esque. I know you'll get that a lot because you sing in that same register as him. And yeah, man, it's those pads that really, you know, do it for me. They sound so great. They sound almost like a synthesized voice, you know, effect kind of. But you know, they're very consistent, and that constant presence, that constant synth presence in the background, just like holding everything up, and it almost feels like it's moving. It's just really cool. It gives this track a really great ambience and atmosphere. I like it a lot. Track 4, Put It On Me, Harvey's Interlude. You've showed me this one too. You spoiled this whole album for me, bro. Come on.
Right? Yeah. You do it. Where you watch your back, gon' make a nigga slide into it. Deeper, passion, pulling, scratching. It's a damn shame you kitty up. And you can run, you can tell that. As long as you bring that tail back. No.
Yeah, so when he does that pitched up singing about halfway to 3/4 of the way through it, I get some like R&B Tory Lanez kind of vibes from that. But in the beginning, right when he comes into his verse and he has the high-pitched voice in the background, that gives me kind of like Bria's Interlude, you know, by Drake featuring Omarion. And his voice right when he comes into his verse kind of does sound like Drake a little bit. But anyways, that's a great song, and that was his friend Harvey Dew, who gave us a really great verse, man. I really like the lyricism on that one. I think he said something like she's 5'2", but she's more 6'9", when something like that. He made a play on the 69, but also 6'9", as if it were a height, and he even added the Tekashi 6'9" ad lib in the background. And that was really cool, man.
5'4", but you a sweet thing. But you more 6'9" when I taste you.
Yeah. 5'4" and you a sweet thing, but you're more 6'9" when I taste you. And then the 6'9" stupid ad lib in the background. That's pretty funny, man. And that's a bar. That's a bar, I think. So yeah, great verse, really great interlude. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds long. Fantastic atmosphere to it. Great production, great performance. I have really nothing bad to say about this one. This is a really, really dope track, man. Track 5, Feeling on Your Body.
I got you feeling on me. Will I fall for you? Probably. I got you to myself. You can't forget everybody else. Back, I know I'm better than your last. You could tell them that. Souls become one, and they'll stay together.
I like the rhythm to this one, man.
Baby, let's slow down. Now that I got you to.
That one has a really dope rhythm to it. It's almost got kind of like a dance hall kind of vibe to it. It's got a really dope little swing to it. The percussion, I think, is what really makes it. That's a catchy hook. Again, short, sweet, great performance from CdXx. And another one of the very lustful tracks. So, you know, this project has been more so on that just wanting a casual hookup kind of vibe. Maybe towards the ending of the project, we'll get more of the seeking commitment, you know, vibes. But I mean, he even says on this track, "I've got you feeling on me. Will I fall for you? Probably. Just don't catch feelings for me." Something like that. So he doesn't want commitment on this track. And I'm keeping an eye out for that concept throughout this entire thing. So I like that one, though. That one's got a really cool, different vibe than what we've gotten so far, because it almost leans into that dance hall, you know, lane just a little bit. Track 6 is Say Less, and this one's actually on my heavy rotation playlist, by the way, because I think this one is the one that features, is it Veronica? Man, this is a great track.
Miss me with that bullshit. You ain't really wild, you a tourist. I bought an 87 for the weekend.
She killed it,
This ain't
man.
what you want, this ain't what you want. You ain't gotta tell no lie, maybe you can confess.
I pull up on hard like a fucking rock. Take me for granted, our body slamming. The meat between those lips like a fucking sandwich. Outlandish man, it's your
Got the meat between those lips like a sandwich is you know what? I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a bar.
Don't need no condom for contact. Grabbing on your ass like a cold dabs.
The synth, by the way, is crazy. I llove her voice, man.
100 Fahrenheit in my room.
Gotta tell nobody, baby, this is just sex. No talk, say less. All alone with you, got you in my zone.
This moment, man, when the drums drop and this synth bass comes in, is just like so triumphant, man. I love it so much.
Heard you got a lot to say, maybe you should say less.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite track off this project so far. The features all killed it. CdXx himself killed it. There are some subtle differences in the mixing for the vocals, and differences in leveling too. I think her voice comes across very cleanly and to be honest, though, maybe a little too loudly. Although she does kill her performance, and I love the sound of her voice, I think that, that's something that's worth pointing out, is that difference. You don't want to be turning up and down the volume as you listen to the song. You want things to sound maybe a little bit more consistent volume-wise. But, I mean, besides that, I have to point out something, some sort of a critique, a criticism, to maybe help him improve, but I genuinely just really like it, man. It's just vibes. I think it's a great song. The sandwich bar, like I said, that's up to you guys. Let me know in the comment section if you think that's a bar or not. I'm a just say less. So, man, that's a bad joke. I might leave that in though. Yeah, that's my favorite so far, man. I really like that one. That's gonna be on my heavy rotation playlist for a minute. I don't see it leaving anytime soon. Track 7 is the title track, Wants and Needs. Let's see what this sounds like. It might be an interlude. It's less than 2 minutes long. I mean, this sounds like it could be on Trilogy right now, so.
Hoping you can be mine, but you had other plans, and that's something I understand. Almost out of cold space, though we were on the same side, but you just need me on your lonely night.
Love the layering. Yeah, the use of the open hats there. Actually, the hats in general are great on there. The percussion, the sound effects. They add so much bounce to the beat. People don't even realize how much the percussion affects the beats and the bounce to your beats. And, so far, that's been something that I've noticed on this project. The percussion has all been very, very well placed to give that oomph to the drums and kind of get you grooving to it. The layering on this one with the background vocals and the, doing another take an octave up, fantastic. Gives a really cool, feeling to it, to the track. Really cool little ambience with that key in the background. The piano in the background. Really dope. And it does kind of feel like an interlude, because the next track is a longer one. It's going on 4 minutes, and so this one's just kind of like a little calm before the storm kind of, transitional track. I like it a lot, though. And Wants and Needs is a great name for this concept on the album, because, wanting the committed relationship and feeling like you need just casual hookups, or the other way around, needing a committed relationship but wanting. I think that makes more sense. Just wanting something more casual. That's a great name for this project. Great name for that track too. Track 8 is Questions.
You love me, gave you all of me, did it mean nothing? Said I'm okay, but when I'm alone, I go through my phone. These questions that I ask you, I know I'm not supposed to, but go, so I can save myself from.
I love the guitars on this one, man. It sounds like there's some strings way up, playing some very high notes, and in the background, adding some color to this track that I really like right now. Yeah, that one's all about just asking your ex some questions and getting closure from them. And you know, there's some vulnerability there. There is some honesty there. There is some pain that I can relate to from, you know, previous breakups and things like that. That they don't come across as somebody who's trying too hard to create a feeling with their music. They just sound genuine. You know, the track just sounds genuine. It sounds real. And that might sound strange to even say, but there are tracks that you can just tell the artist is just trying to pull an emotion out of you, and it doesn't really sound like they mean what they say. But this one, you know, you can just tell it's real, which is something that I have to admire about it. I have to give him props for that, for being able to convey his emotions in a track in the same way that produces that same emotion in us. That's a great song, man. That's really well done. You know, I'm not a huge fan of tracks that go, you know, too far over 3 minutes and 30 seconds, especially when they're slower paced like this one. So maybe this one's a little too long, but that's gonna come down to personal preference, you know, as always. Track 9 is All Alone.
Change my life, but I couldn't see past what you put. And you don't know what you are. Tell me, why can't I find love wherever I go?
Calling back to that "why can't I find love" question, really dope.
Guess you left me all alone. I guess I'll never know.
That's a fantastic song, man. Calling back to that original question, why can't I find love? I mean, just the atmosphere on this is like heartbreaking, you know, and another hypnotizing track, super ambient. That one's great, actually, for you to just zone out to be honest. It's one of those tracks that's just going to make you drift a little bit. I was listening closely, and it sounds like, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, there's some distortion going on in this track where it sounds like maybe the levels are too loud. It sounds like it's kind of like peaking a little bit. I don't know. It's not really happening with your vocals, though, so I don't know if that's something that's going on intentionally in the production or not. That's the thing. But it does sound like it's got some distortion going on in the background. That's, if it's intentional, maybe done to add some color or texture to the track, and if it's not intentional, then I would say just to be a little careful when it comes to boosting some of those different production elements in the mix. I'm hoping, though, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it's intentional and just trying to add some fuzzy kind of texture to the track in the background. You know, just to give it a little grit. You know what I mean? So it's not all super sweet and smooth. I can definitely see that. You know. So the last track is Aura. I believe I've heard. You spoiled like half this album for me, man. Luckily, you know, most of these tracks I have only heard once. Say Less I've heard 1,000 times, but pretty sure I've heard Aura. The track is, again, familiar, the title. This one's a really, really cool vibe. The cool little synths, you know, it's got a really dope little colorful kind of feeling to it. I can imagine like neon lights in the city at nighttime as I listen to this. That's what this is giving me. Bass is going crazy. This bass line is so sick, dude. This is a really groovy track, man. It's gonna get people dancing for sure. Definitely one of the groovier songs off this project. I think that might be my second favorite after Say Less. Super fun vibes. Like I said, giving me some cyberpunk kind of like neon lights at nighttime vibes with those little synths. It's just really, really cool. You know, it's gonna make people dance. It's got that groovy, like, you know, swing to it. I really like that song, man. That's great. And again, kind of talking about not really knowing exactly what about the person makes you attracted to them. Something about their aura. At night, I think about your smile, you know, like different little elements that kind of attract you to this person in general, and kind of sticking to that theme, of lust versus love versus, just attraction and something casual or something more serious. I like it a lot, man. And that was the last song, and that's a great song to close us out, by the way. And it kind of feels like it's a bonus track, because track 9 is the track that calls back to that original question of why can't I find love. So that one kind of feels like a bonus track, even though it doesn't explicitly say that that's a bonus song. Wants and Needs is it's a really fun album, man. It's a really interesting album. It's a really short listen, so you should definitely check this out. But he does a great job of sticking to that theme, of kind of debating with himself, and arguing with himself and trying to fight against his urges to give in to temptation for something more physical and casual, and trying to stick to his need for intimacy and a committed relationship. He does a great job at sticking to that theme. All of these tracks, for the most part, sound pretty sweet and surreal and atmospheric and ethereal. They're gonna be they sound spacey. They have a very ambient kind of vibe to them, a very grand, reverberant, triumphant kind of vibe to them. The synth work on here is really dope. The beats, the drum work on here definitely does call back to R&B and hip hop, which I think is a really cool infusion with some of those chord progressions. There are even some tracks on here where we get into a little bit more of a gospel kind of chord progression. I don't remember specifically which track, to be honest. It might have been, was it Feeling on Your Body? I don't know. It was one of those tracks towards the middle. Maybe even Harvey's Interlude. But yeah, just a lot of really dope sounding songs on this one that I enjoy. Any negative things that I had to say about it, I kind of said right after I heard the song. I try not to keep a long list of negative things to say about the project to mention towards the end, because my feelings for this album are actually in general pretty positive. And so any bad things that I had to say about it are just minimal small tweaks that I've made mention of already, and there's no real need to reinforce those, because like I said, my feelings are pretty overwhelmingly positive about this album. So definitely check it out. The link to it is in the description. Follow CdXx on Instagram. Support him, because he's been a supporter of this channel for a minute now, and he makes great music. And this, by the way, was in 2019. His newer music is only sounding better. So definitely he has been working on his craft and improving since then. CdXx, thank you so much for hitting me up and asking me to listen to this project. It was really, really dope. An absolute joy to listen to. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you for watching the video. If you feel like supporting the channel, be sure to hit that like button. Get this video out to other people. You can also share it, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, long term, you can become a patron or a member of the channel. And, show up to the streams every now and then. If you want to promote your music, putting y'all on is every Wednesday. And if you want to just put me on to anything, submit any song from mainstream or up and coming or your own music or whenever, I stream every Friday, also at 4 p.m. Eastern. I will see you guys then. So until then, take care. Stay safe out there, guys. Peace out.